It's Daffodil Day. How about that, right? Yeah, it's crazy here in Michigan. The weather has been so incredibly beautiful. We've had 70, even 80-degree days here. And then today we have a rainstorm coming through. And then tonight it's supposed to get down to 31. And then it's clear tomorrow and it's going to be 20. They're predicting 27, 26, 25, 24, which is just going to be miserable for the gardens. And I just don't know. That's crazy. So we have daffodils are going to be actually a featured flower in season 4. So we had to film them because I have a big bed of daffodils that has about 5 or 6 different varieties in it. And so we filmed those and then I cut them today because they are going to freeze tonight. So a great day for us to talk about them though and create a beautiful arrangement, right? And there's some tricks and tips about daffodils that could be very helpful to us. So I figured it was a great time for us to have a video about daffodils. We have daffodils and we also have narcissus. Names are sometimes interchanged. However, a narcissus is typically the smaller flower, where a daffodil is the traditional yellow cup. This is a daffodil. This is a narcissus. Okay. Wow, look at there. You know what? They're very yellow, and this is almost like a golden yellow, but on the camera here, it isn't true color. So you're just going to have to watch my Facebook posts and stuff for some beautiful pictures of daffodils. Kel took some beautiful ones and put them up on Facebook and Instagram. They're gorgeous. Some of them have a fragrance. Okay, so be aware of that too. I think daffodils have a fragrance. I think they smell fresh. They smell like daffodils. There's nothing else that really smells like that. The narcissus also have a fragrance, which is more akin to like paper white narcissus. So they have like a sweet, heady fragrance that I really like too. So, I mean, I'm all about any fragrances that we have. And so I cut a couple other flowers too while we were out there because we're going to talk about mixing and matching them as well as putting them in a vase by themselves. Okay. I cut some bleeding hearts and I cut a few hellebores. So there's that. So I put them in a bucket right here. I took my cold Chrysler Professional 3 out to the yard with me and I put them in there. So I could also use bulb food because obviously daffodils and narcissus come from a bulb. Okay, so they benefit from that. There's a higher sugar content in it. And what happens is that helps the foliage stay green and helps the flowers progress throughout their life cycle. Bulb flowers like daffodils, hyacinth, iris, lilies, all need extra food so that it helps them bloom beautifully in our vases and our arrangements. So I hope you have your favorite cup of coffee. I hope you've got, or whatever your favorite beverage is. My favorite beverage is coffee. So I combine the two there. Maybe your music's going, that kind of thing, whatever you want to do. But it's just time to sit back and we're going to enjoy the daffodils, right? So with this, I cut them. When I cut them this morning, I want to show you this as well. I cut them as low to the ground as I possibly could. It actually included a couple of leaves when I came out there. But what I want to show you about this is that the end of the stem, look at that. The end of the stem is solid. I'm going to move it down over here against my blue shirt. There we go. Okay, see how it's solid? See how that's solid, okay? And so then if I were to cut it longer, then it's hollow and it has sap in it. Oop, there we go. It's kind of hollow and has sap in it, right? When I cut it longer, it doesn't dispel as much sap. And so, yeah, I wish you could see that really close up because there's a hole in this one. Oop, there we go. And at the other end, there's not. So hole and not. And so if you can cut down low enough to catch that, and you'll also notice that, look at the stem is turning white towards the end. It's green, 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 and then it starts to turn white. So if you can cut down at that lower angle, that's going to reduce the amount of sap that goes into your vase or into your bucket. Now, the problem with that is we would have to leave it that long to not have the sap dispel, okay? And we may cut them down and make them shorter than that. And that is why we use CVBN tablets, okay? The little CVBN tablets like this. We've talked about them before for fuzzy stems. And so when something has a fuzzy stem on it, it creates bacteria faster in the water. That's why we use cold water. That's why we also use our flower nutrients, so that things that have a fuzzy stem, let's think about those. Kangaroo paw, sunflower, protea, stock, did I say sunflowers? Okay. It even benefits dahlias, which is interesting. So anything that has a fuzzy stem on it is going to benefit from a CVBN tablet. Now, on the converse side, the other magic that this does about the sap that's in these stems, that sap is toxic to other flowers. It will cause other flowers that are in the vase to expire faster because it creates bacteria faster in the water. It's a sugary sap from these daffodils, and it's going to get in that water and it's going to make it toxic unless we add our CVBN tablets. So when we add our CVBN tablets, it's going to protect the other flowers if we choose to put other flowers in the vase with it. If you watch one of our episodes of Life in Bloom, where we have bleeding hearts as the featured flower, which is Hearts and Flowers, episode 302 from season 3 that's airing right now, you're going to notice that there's an arrangement in there with some Narcissus and some bleeding hearts and other flowers in a vase. In that vase, I have a CVBN tablet because that tablet helps reduce that bacteria and keep the other flowers safe. So that's another real bonus for using the CVBN tablets. So these don't have fuzzy stems, but they're going to be helpful to the other flowers. So I thought we would make this today in this vase. I thought this was a great vase for it. And I think that'll be really pretty, and we can work with that. And let's see if I can't keep everybody on the table today so that I'm not reaching back there. It's interesting because some of these of the Narcissus and Daffodils are white. And so when they're white, it really blows it out. And it's really fun camera stuff, right? Okay. So anyway, we are going to use a regular cold water. I know that this vase holds just under a gallon of water. Okay. And so we got it nice and full. There we go. And I'm going to use my Chrysler Professional 3. Okay. I'm just going to do like about a half a squirt and a little bit of a dribble. Okay. And then because I have over a liter, I'm going to add 2 tablets, 2 of the CVBN tablets. That's going to be super helpful down inside there. I know that we talk about foliage first, and I wanted to have some foliage in here, but I didn't want something. We're also going to have foliage on the daffodils. And so I thought the lily grass really made sense because the lily grass kind of looks like our daffodil foliage. There was a couple little pieces of foliage and stuff on this, and I just wanted to brush them off and tap them off so that doesn't end up in my water. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to give these a fresh cut. We're using our compact pruners and our bypass cutter from our friends at Dram today. And I'm just going to cut that off. And then one more tap off there and then into my vase. And I'm really literally just going to let them fall out one side. Okay? Literally fall out one side. That's what's going to happen. Look at those guys. They're kind of floating up towards the top. They want to go. They want to fall out. Okay? Remember, when you're arranging your flowers, to have fun with it, to make it a process, to enjoy the experience. I think all that's really fun. And so look at that. I got one that's backwards here. So I'm just kind of trying to turn a couple of those around that are backwards. Little manipulation there. That looks great. Yeah. Okay. Just pretty coming out one side. And then let's see. And so this is the ones that were on that iris I showed you before. Look at those. These can just drop in there. That's going to be pretty. And let's see what I've got in here. Let's just grab a bunch of them like this. Unlike tulips, Daffodils kind of do their own thing. I took these out of there. They don't do their own thing. Sorry. Tulips do their own thing. So I like placing my daffodils, and I want to keep this foliage on here. Look, I cut some that weren't even open yet because I knew that those freezing temperatures were going to get those guys. My friend David Clark, if any of you follow David Clark, he's amazing. He's a great little horticulturist in Buffalo, New York. And he had asked me about daffodils and about the way to treat the water, what to treat in the water. And so what I'm doing with these is I've treated the water already, and I'm just placing them in here. And I'm trying to salvage any of that foliage that I had connected to those daffodils. Now, you'll also notice that I'm not cutting them again if I don't have to, because they've already released what toxicity they might have into that vase or that bucket over there. And then I'm just going to continue to add here. And so I'm just dropping them down inside here because they've already been cut, right? Really slick and easy. Perfect. And I'm just kind of looking at them and deciding where they want to go. Look at this one's kind of curvy. So he's going to go here on the back side. One here. Let's spin it around a little bit so that everybody doesn't get used in one spot. Look, I'm going to add like 3 or 4 at once. That's okay. Because you know what? Now this is reminding me of, it's reminding me of the bed that they're in out there. We call it Daffodil Hill. It's a bed in the garden that has daffodils planted in it. There might be, I don't know, a couple hundred daffodils maybe planted in there. Some places have huge daffodil displays that are just amazing, where they have thousands and thousands of them, so you can find those online and go see those. That's really fun. So now I'm going to take a few of the shorter ones that I have here. Look at how great that's looking. Now, notice, part of this is the vase that we're using. It's this square angular vase that flares out towards the top, and that really lends itself well to the daffodils. Not necessarily all flowers, and again, you could use a structure down inside here if you wanted to, a green bouquet or some foliage from the yard or something like that too. That could all be really wonderful. But this is just great. Just look at these guys. I love that. This is the fragrant one. This golden one is very fragrant. I can smell him already. He smells terrific. I have some friends who love flowers with fragrance, and I have other friends who don't like flowers with fragrance. So, to each his own. I want everybody to be happy. But if you don't like fragrance, you might not like some of the Narcissus varieties of these flowers in here. I'm going to drop some more of these right down in the center, because I like having those smaller ones in the middle. That's really kind of pretty. Now let's see, what else do we have here? Okay. Look at these guys. They're just amazing. Oh, you know what? That blows completely out. Sorry, it has got a vibrant pink scent, a vibrant peach orange center. It is bright orange. And, you can't see it at all on the camera. That is why we produce our high definition photos and stuff on uBloom. So you can go to ubloom.com and you can see beautiful, beautiful photography that my team gathers when we're in the studio. We're going to be going back into the studio in May, and with all of our COVID precautions, my team's so great about that, and we are going to film some more uBloom episodes for you. But somebody wrote into me the other day and they said, oh, the quality of the video on here was terrible. And I was just like, well, it's, this is what it is. It is a camera in my basement. We do not have professional lighting. We do not have professional camera guys. I don't have, 9 people here, which is what we normally have when we do that. We don't have overhead. We don't have side. We don't have Keith doing his magic, who is my photographer. We don't have any of that. This is just in the basement, in the flower studio, in our house, and we're making flowers. So hopefully, wow, it looks, it's so funny. Look at it. It looks like it's a white bouquet, and it is not a white bouquet, right? It is just beautiful, beautiful daffodils. So if I wanted to, then I could add these beautiful bleeding hearts or these hellebores to this bouquet now. And I'm going to do that afterwards, after our little get together here, because I think what I'm going to do is I want to take some pictures of this by itself, and then I'll add the other flowers, and I'll put that up on Instagram, and I'll put that up on Facebook so that you can see it there. So make sure that you follow me there. If you wanted to, here's just a really great tip. The other day, we made this vase on the show, okay? And it is a little triple vase, bud vase, with the pussy willows holding it together. Someone asked how long that lasts. See, this is that 2 weeks, 3 weeks later. Still looks great. The pussy willows dry naturally. But here, if we wanted to put daffodils in one, hellebores in another, bleeding hearts in another, we would keep the flowers apart, and then the toxicity wouldn't matter. So that's a great way for us to utilize that, is that for that function. That beautiful little vase that we used the other day from our friends at Dollar Tree, who are also underwriters of Jay Schwanke's Life in Bloom season 3 on public television. So look at that. But look at how great this looks, and maybe you don't want to add other flowers to it. I really like, the botanical nature of having it be all daffodils and narcissus and, being very onesie. But, I might add those, and I will add those later, and I will take a picture and I will show you what it looks like. So there we go. But I think it's really pretty. And so I hope you enjoy this. I hope you thought it was fun. Our beautiful daffodils that we saved from the freezing temps here in Michigan. All right. And so until next time, keep having fun with flowers.